Hi, and welcome back to Basic Bananas. I'm here today at our headquarters with the one and only Karla, who owns Nordic Fusion. And thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you. Thanks for having me.
Coming in. Would you love to? I would love you to share a little bit about your business. How did you get started, and why this business?
So actually, I didn't start the business. I bought it from the lady who started it probably about 20 years ago. She wanted to retire. But my daughter was about to start school, and I kind of had decided I had lost my mojo a little bit in the corporate world, and I decided that I kind of wanted to have a little bit more flexibility for when she started school. So I started looking for a business to start or to buy, and then this one just kind of, it was perfect because it was in the right location and it was with products that I love. So
yeah, tell us a bit about the business. What does it sell? What's the focus? What's the mission even?
Yeah, so Nordic Fusion is we curate Scandinavian design products. So mostly homewares and gifts, and a little bit of furniture as well. Now, we aim to just bring beauty and joy to people's homes here in Australia and in New Zealand. Yeah. So we have a few parts of the business. So we do brick and mortar retail. We have a store in Manly, and we also do online retail, and we do wholesale of some Scandinavian brands that we represent here in Australia and in New Zealand.
And you just got into a new warehouse too.
Yes, new warehouse. Yeah, that's very exciting actually, because we were very squashed in the previous place, and now we have a lot of room to continue to grow. So that's exciting.
And so your vision or your mission for the business is to bring joy and beauty into people's homes. Yeah, that's beautiful. Why this business? What was your selection criteria for? Because there are so many businesses for sale out there. Yeah. How did you pick Nordic Fusion?
Well, I actually before I bought Nordic Fusion, I had done a few properties that I had renovated and decorated and flipped, and so that was kind of my background with work was supply chain, so it was all numbers and very dry kind of work. So that was kind of like my creative outlet, and then this business selling furnishing for homes and beautiful homewares was kind of a really good connection to that creative outlet, and I love the products as well. So I just thought it was great.
Yeah, and you're proudly wearing some of your products.
Yes. So this is a beautiful Finnish brand that is called Marimekko, and it's one of our biggest selling brands.
Yeah. And the earrings too.
And the earrings is from our favorite Swedish designer Eva Adling. So she does products that her motto is beauty with a thought. All her pieces have either a little bit of writing on it, or they have a message, or they come from a moment in her life where she. Yeah. So this is a W, and they just say women empower.
Oh, that's beautiful. And again, it's about the bringing joy and beauty into people's lives and homes.
Yes.
But pretty much with all the items that you sell, that's probably one of your criteria for selection.
That's right.
Is it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Now, we've known each other for a while, and on this business journey, there are always lots of ups and downs and challenges and highlights. What are some of your biggest challenges that stand out that you would be able to share?
Yeah, so of course, I think probably for most businesses, the first few years are really tough. Even though I bought the business that was already established, the first couple of years were really, really tough. And I think mostly at the time that I bought the business, the retail world started to change quite dramatically.
When was that?
And so I've had the business for 5 years now.
Yeah.
So 5 years ago, the business that I bought was heavily reliant. Most of the revenue came from the shops. It had 2 stores at the time. And the wholesale business was kind of on a sidekick, and the website, the retail part of the business online was pretty much non-existent. There was a website, but it was just very, very little. But at that time, things started going, retail, brick and mortar retail started going into trouble, sales started going down, and that on top of me being inexperienced with the retail side of a business as well, because my background, I had worked for wholesale business. So it was all very daunting and very scary, actually, very scary times when you see the sales diving and, and things changing. But it was, like most challenges, it was just an opportunity to change and just do things differently. I couldn't continue doing things the same as they were done before I bought the business, because the world, everything around us was changing. And so what we decided to do was actually concentrate on the things that we knew we could do well. So I started using my expertise in processes and systems, and then we changed the website straight away. That picked up.
I remember,
and then also we decided to close one of the stores, and we started concentrating more on wholesale and driving that through automation. We did a website for wholesale as well, and so that kind of started shifting the business, which in turn turned out to be the right decision because that's made us grow quite significantly.
It's a very brave move in 5 years ago, without any retail experience, to buy a physical store also, and then to be in a landscape where things were changing very drastically. And then COVID came, which again changed your the retail model completely.
Yes.
How through those times where you're like, oh my god, what am I doing here? How did you stay positive enough to keep going?
Well, COVID was really scary, I think, for everyone. Obviously, when it first hit, no one knew what happened. I actually that was that year when COVID hit. That first the year had started literally with a bang for us. Like, we had the best January in history. We had the best trade show in history, wholesale, and so I ordered a lot of stock. And
just
it was
COVID,
just before COVID.
In March, it started here in Australia.
Yes, that's right. And so it was already on a boat. I had loads and lots of stock that I had either paid for or I had to pay for it as it arrived. And as soon as COVID hit, all the little stores closed and everyone cancelled their orders. So I was left with potentially a lot of debt and no cash to do things. But I think what kept me strong, first of all, is you kind of understanding that there are a lot of things in life that you can't control, and so you just concentrate on controlling what you can.
That's really good wisdom.
Letting the rest kind of roll as it goes. But also I had a really, really good team, and the team were so good. Like they just helped out with anything. They took a cut on hours that we needed, and they were just happy to do anything, any task that needed to be done in the business. Everyone said, "Oh, I'm just happy to do anything."
That's and that's probably a testament to your leadership and having that strong mission also in the business.
I mean the team. I couldn't have done it without the team, obviously. Also, it was really good timing that at the time we had already changed the website, the retail website. Of course, retail was shifting completely, as you said, more towards online. People were stuck at home, so they were probably looking at all the things that they didn't like at home, and we sell homewares, so that was really good for the business at the time. And also, we had done the Clever Bunch as well, so we had a lot of tools to implement, and it was really good time for testing and doing things online. So we really tried to capitalize. That was pretty much the only way that we could sell, because our store was also closed, or even if it was open, nobody was going out because everyone was scared. So that was our only, revenue that we were getting. So we were kind of throwing everything at it, and it worked out, really well in the end.
That's amazing. And through COVID, I've seen a lot of businesses that have had teams that have really just stepped up and we're helping, even if we work more and get paid less, we're here. And then I've also seen, and that's usually been because the business has had a really good culture and good leadership, such as yours. And then other businesses that have had the opposite, where everyone left because they're like, I can't do this anymore. So it's really interesting. And so my next question is, and maybe that is one of your highlights, what have been some of your highlights, or one highlight that stands out on these last 5 years?
I think probably the business and the culture that I was lucky enough that quite a few of them, actually everyone that was working in the business when I bought it, they stayed for a while. The COVID time, some people had left, they had changed and what have you, but the people that stayed made it they already had a really strong connection to each other, and they just welcomed me, which was really nice. And so we just build this very strong unit together. Whereas I said, to this day, even though everyone's got their specific jobs, everyone in the office can do everything. And that's because they don't care. They just they just got each other's back, and if someone's on holidays or sick, somebody else steps in. So I think that is probably my proudest achievement, just the team and the culture and because that's allowed us to grow. And then, I mean, we've done quite great things. We've started working a lot more on our social media and getting that right and making sure that we're getting a lot more followers. And then we also started doing a lot more advertising. And we started adding content to our newsletters. They weren't just about products. So then there's all this additional connection. That had a really massive impact. And still to this day, there's lots of, we get comments. Like sometimes people just write back an email to us about something we send them. And we're a shop. But
we build community because you're sharing content, not just products.
Yes.
I love that. That's actually really good highlight. And something else that's just stood out before and now it just went away again. I'm just trying to get it back to my mind. But the thing that you mentioned also, which is really cool, which you said that everyone on your team knows how to do everything or most things, which is a really smart way to run your business. And just before, again, this is something that makes me so happy. I asked Karla about her social media because our team here is doing behind the scenes and to also share Nordic Fusion on our social media. And Karla's like, I don't really know because I think it's that, but I don't really look after our social media. And I'm like, yes, this is what I want to hear because you don't need to be you don't need to be in charge of everything. You're a very good leader. You empower other people to take charge of parts of your business.
I think that is very important. I think it's been really important for my sanity spiritually. I mean, someone asked me the other day, it's like, who's your HR person? And I'm like, it's me.
Yeah.
And then who's your your software person? It's me. And there's a lot of empty roles that always fall on the business owner. But I think if you have capable people, you just have to let them run with things. And most of the time, I think we've got a new employee that she just started a month ago. And it was funny because I was telling her, I said, you have to follow up on me. If I owe you something for you to finish what I've asked you to finish, you need to follow up on me. And she's like, she can. And I'm like, this is how we work. Because everyone owns their bit of work. And then they just, I don't have to be on top of everyone. So that's been really good because as business owners, we already work very long hours. So it's been very important to be able to let go of specific tasks and the control that they I think that makes them feel really part of it. And
it is.
It is. They're responsible for the business.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned before that you also were part of the Clever Bunch. You've graduated. You're a Genius Bunch member now, and throughout the Clever Bunch, you learned a lot of different strategies to also help with the online part of your business. Why, and this might be a bit of a silly question given the circumstances, but why did you join Clever Bunch and what did you try before?
So when I first bought the business, I had worked with marketing people before, but I didn't really understand, the nitty gritty. Or it's not that I'm a marketeer now. I still hire people to do that for me. Yeah. But I really had no idea, and so I thought, well, as soon as I bought the business, I want to grow this business. I have to have some marketing. And so I started looking outside. So I started looking to agencies and people who could do something for social media and all sorts of different people. And I got like 10 different quotes for things that I didn't understand. And the quotes went from like $1,000 to $150,000. Wow, so it was just so like mind-boggling. I just had no idea where to start, what to do. And so then I just saw, I think I saw it in Facebook actually. Your ad came up in Facebook. And then I just signed up and I came to do the little workshop and I just thought, this is what I need, because if nothing else, it's just for me to understand what I'm paying for if I choose to go with someone.
Exactly, yeah.
So it just kind of opened my mind. I thought, I'm just going to do it. And then, it was the best decision, because then I realized I didn't need to do the $150,000 one.
Absolutely.
And then that was when the business the going was really tough. Because of all the retail going down. So I just didn't have the cash to pay anybody else. And so I just started doing things myself and experimenting. And that helped me learn more about the business and our customers in particular, which has been really important for us to, to be more kind of like more niche into what our customers want.
Yeah.
And also, it obviously, it paid off. It definitely. I think the online tools have been absolutely amazing, and I wouldn't have been able to achieve the growth that we had online without those tools. So yeah.
I love that. That's amazing to hear. And one of my favorite things that you share here, also for our audience, too. This is such an important message to hear, is that it can be, as a business owner, it can be so confusing because there are so many offerings out there. And should I hire an SEO expert or a PR firm, or do I need to rebrand my business, or what do I need to do? Do I need to buy leads? And as a business owner, really, you just need to understand the strategy. I always say this: you need to understand the strategy. And once you do, you can then outsource some of that, which you have done also. What are do you remember some of the specifics that you have implemented?
Yeah, well, I think the copyright was really good, apart from the Clever Bunch.
Yes,
so that was something that for me, it changed completely. The main message that I think changed the whole strategy of our sales strategy actually was to make sure that the main message was it's all about the customer. It's got nothing to do with us. So whenever we were trying to talk to our customers and connect with them via our newsletters, or any point of communication, even in the shop, it's all about them and how they feel about us, not about how great we are and how great our product is and how beautiful it is. That's kind of secondary. It's all about how they feel about it.
Yeah.
And so that was a real eye-opener for me, because before that I always thought,
focused on yours.
You just say, well, our product is the best, it's the best design, it's the most beautiful, and it may be, but you might not feel that way as a customer. So for us, it was trying to connect to that. So we went back to being authentic. So we make sure that everything we do is Scandinavian based. So we went back to style. So a lot as we started adding content, which, as I said, was like great, because that meant that we weren't getting a lot of unsubscribes with every newsletter. Before every newsletter, we just got so many unsubscribes. As soon as we started adding content, then that completely changed the game. People were, they might not have been buying at the time, but they were reading the content, and no one was unsubscribing, which meant that when we did have a sale, then people would still receive our emails. So that was really, really good. And we started doing blogs on Scandinavian themes, and just about celebrating the countries where we buy from, and talking about different things that relate to that.
I was actually going to ask you. I was going to say, what kind of content? Because it's such a game changer what you've done there. Even though it seems so simple, I'd love to see more businesses do that. What sort of content did you?
Yeah, so we did. We started. We got a couple of people writing little blogs for us, but their content was mostly concentrated. So Sweden celebrates something called Cinnamon Bun Day. they all eat cinnamon bun. It's like It's a national cinnamon bun day. Yeah, like nobody thinks about it. It's just really. I thought it was crazy. It's delicious, but crazy. But they celebrate things like that. So we would have a content with a recipe. So our blogger wrote the story about how they came to celebrate Cinnamon Bun in Sweden, but also a recipe from her grandma. And so that's actually to date has been the most read blog, because it's got a recipe, right? And everyone loves a free recipe. Yeah. And cinnamon buns, I mean, they're delicious. So and we would talk to our friends. There's a Swedish cafe in Manly that's close to a shop. And so they would make little cinnamon buns for our store, and we will have them there on the day. So all the customers that came in, then they would be able, we could offer them a cinnamon bun because it's Cinnamon Bun Day.
That's a really cool strategy.
So things like that. So we would just celebrate all the national holidays and things like that. But we would talk about their culture as well. So the Danish, for instance, they have something called hygge, which is in winter. Now you hear more and more about that word nowadays, but it's about kind of coziness. There's no literal translation, but it's about coziness and calm and relax. So having hygge, they kind of develop that during the winter, which is the darker months in Northern Europe, and they just they light a candle, they put on woolly socks, and they just have a nice cup of a hot drink, and and they just sit by the fire and read a good book. So that is or you have a hot bath with it's just kind of like that, create that environment of coziness.
Yeah.
So we sell books about hygge, and
Yeah.
we've done a blog about it, and to tell people how you can create your own little hygge space at home, and
that's
things like that.
It's really cool because it's obviously people love the content, but also you're sharing culture,
Yes.
which we're craving. We're craving culture, and you're sharing that. I love that. And the other thing that you shared, sort of just in between the lines, is the power of doing even collaborations with other businesses, which you have done. Let's say with this Swedish shop in Manly, where you collaborate and they probably send people your way and you send people their way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I love that.
Yeah, they buy from us as well. Like they're just
yeah. Oh, I love those stories. Now we're coming towards the end of this interview. Unfortunately, already there's so much gold in there already. One more question. I'd like to just ask maybe one more question on the Clever Bunch, and then some words of wisdom from you to our audience here. Why would you recommend the Clever Bunch?
Well, I think it's kind of no nonsense. It's simple. It's just something that you can do to really understand what steps you need to take to grow your business through marketing. And you don't need to be a genius. You don't need to be tech savvy. It is simple, straightforward, and no nonsense marketing tools. So
I love that, and that's definitely something we want to be known for, is the no nonsense of approach to anything that we do here at Basic Brands. Now, the two last questions I have is, one is, what do you wish you had known as a business owner when you first started?
Oh yeah, well, I suppose I wish that I wasn't scared of trying new things. I was really, because I had never I had managed people before, but being the boss of everything, it's a big responsibility. So I was a little bit scared of failure at the beginning. Whilst now I'm a little bit more, a little bit happier to do certain gambles that I would just say, like, we just try it, and trial and error. So I think that's something that I wish I would have known. Then I probably would have progressed to where we're at now a little bit faster. You never know, so in hindsight, but so that's probably the one thing, to be a little bit less scared. A little bit
probably less risk averse almost.
That's right.
Just a bit more like, come on, let's, it'll all be working out.
That's right.
Eventually. That's a great lesson, I guess, that we can all take from or learn from. And the last one is, what is one or two or three or few words of wisdom that you as a business owner, and you've walked the talk over the last years, you've built a successful business from going through different challenges in the retail space also. What are some words of wisdom?
Well, if you really want something, don't give up. And as I said before, like, just try different things. If something doesn't work, just try a different way. But if you really believe in something, don't give up. Because, it would have been very easy after the first 2 years when things were going really, really bad to say, I'm not built for this, or I'm not going to make it, I'm just going to shut it down. But if you really believe in something, just keep going. There'll be always hurdles, but life is trial and error now, I think.
We don't know when the next pandemic is coming, and you just stick with it, and you changed your business, and now it's working better than ever. Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for joining us here again. For anyone who wants to come, check you out. We don't know the social media handle. No, we do. It's Nordic Fusion. And also Nordic Fusion on the website. We'll put the links in the notes here too, so make sure you check it out. You can buy things online. Or if you're in Sydney, there's a beautiful store in Manly. There's also a showroom. If you own a retail store and you would love to stock some of the products, also you can get in touch too with Karla. And any final words?
Just enjoy the ride.
Yes, hold on and enjoy the ride. Thanks so much. Thanks, Karla.
Thanks
for joining us.
Thank you.